Your voices, your stories, in your community. 7 News Detroit at 4 starts right now.
Good afternoon to you. I'm Carolyn Clifford. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 4. And here's a look at the top stories we're following for you on this Wednesday. Pothole problems, craters continue popping up all over Metro Detroit. After recent temperature changes, we are hearing from drivers about the biggest problem spots. Plus, new developments in the deadly mass shooting at a Grand Blanc Township church, where the legal battle stands right now. And the Detroit Tigers great has died. We're looking back at the accomplishments of Mickey Lolich from when he was wearing the Old English D. We begin with Metro Detroit looking more like Crater City with recent temperature changes. Even more potholes are popping up across Metro Detroit. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham on pothole patrol, talking with drivers and officials.
DeQuinder is one of the spots many of you told us was a breeding ground for potholes. So we decided to check it out. On our Channel 7 Facebook page, many viewers highlighted DeQuinder from 8 Mile to 15 Mile, but especially near the intersection at 13 Mile. Throughout the day, crews from the Macomb County Department of Roads have been filling potholes with cold patch, including on DeQuinder. Eric Dimoff with the Macomb County Department of Roads says when you have the freeze-thaw cycle that we're experiencing with heavy amounts of precipitation and then freezing into the roadways, that's when the pavement expands and creates potholes, an occurrence Michigan drivers have learned to adjust to.
Bob and weave, just dodge them. Try to go slow if you can.
We have a handful of crews out on the roadways. They've been out essentially since that big storm we got about a week and a half ago. Once we got the roads clear of snow, we started hitting the potholes, some of the high hotspot areas and the heavily traveled areas.
If you spot a pothole that you think needs patching, report it to your local road department. We've got a list compiled at WXYZ.com. Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
Now to breaking news out of Fraser. Chopper 7 flying over a business with a giant hole in the wall. This unfolding within the last hour. It appears to be a crash into a building involving a box truck and several other vehicles. It is right on Grossbeck at 14 Mile and appears to be an auto repair shop. We do have a crew headed to the scene, and we are working to learn if anyone was hurt and what led up to this crash. Meantime, we want you to stay with 7 News Detroit on air and online at WXYZ.com for any updates.
Well, look now at the weather. It still feels like winter out there. It has been feeling like winter for quite some time. We have not yet hit above freezing in over a week at this point, or a couple weeks. So we'll see if we can break that later on this week. Right now, we have 23 degrees in downtown Detroit, the wind chill. Also 23 degrees, dew point is 8 degrees. So it is getting a little bit less dry out there, but not by much. Looking at temperatures and wind chills right now, 22 degrees is the temperature in parts of Detroit here, with 13 is the wind chill, 12 is the wind chill in Pontiac, 13 is the wind chill in Ann Arbor. So the wind chill in many spots is still a little bit below what it is outside. Over the next few hours, we're seeing temperatures dropping off into the low double digits here. And then over tomorrow, we're going to see potentially warming up temperatures as we go into the weekend, but we do have snow on the way. We'll tell you more about all that coming up in your full forecast.
New developments in the deadly mass shooting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. The officers who shot the man that carried out the attack were justified. That is the decision from the Genesee County prosecutor. After reviewing the case, the prosecutor will not charge the officers who killed the gunman, Jacob Sanford. As we have reported, 4 people were killed and 10 others were hurt in the shooting and fire at the church on September 28th. New details about a bizarre story out of Chelsea involving a Goodwill donation. The Washtenaw County Medical Examiner's Office confirming today it was a human skull put into a drop box last month, wrapped in a shirt. Well, it's now been sent to the anthropology department at the University of Michigan for further examination. It could take up to 90 days before we have any new answers. Meantime, police are still working to make contact with the woman who dropped that skull off. Our Detroit Tigers are mourning one of their former aces, Mickey Lolich, a left-handed pitcher who helped lead the Tigers to the 1968 World Series title, has died. Lolich won 217 of his 496 starts, posting a 3.44 earned run average. He played 13 seasons for the Tigers and was named an All-Star 3 times. Lolich still leads the Tigers in strikeouts. He was signed to the Tigers in 1958 at the age of 17 and would make his major league debut 5 years later. He was inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame in 1982. Mickey Lolich was 85 years old.
The man found guilty of trying to assassinate Donald Trump has now been sentenced to life in federal prison. Back in September of 2024, Ryan Ruth was spotted by Secret Service agents hiding in the bushes with a rifle and a backpack. Ruth telling jurors in his closing argument that he didn't intend to kill anyone that day. He asked the judge for a just sentence. 8 more federal prosecutors are set to resign in Minnesota. Officials say they're angry about the handlings of the shooting deaths of ICU nurse Alex Preddy and mother of 3, Renee Good. Last month, 6 other prosecutors leaving due to mounting pressure from the DOJ to investigate Renee Good's widow. Meanwhile, several U.S. citizens speaking out on Capitol Hill on Tuesday about the horrors they say they suffered at the hands of Border Patrol and ICE. Aliyah Rahman, who is disabled, says she was on her way to the doctors when she was dragged from her car by masked agents.
I was carried face down through the street by my cuffed arms and legs while yelling that I had a brain injury and was disabled. I now cannot lift my arms normally. I was never asked for ID, never told I was under arrest, never read my rights, and never charged with a crime.
Rahman claims, or DHS claims that Rahman ignored commands to move her vehicle, which they say was obstructing their operations.
The partial government shutdown may be over, but the funding fight is not. That's because funding for the Department of Homeland Security runs out in just 2 weeks, and Democrats are demanding major immigration enforcement reform. The latest shutdown may be over, but a new funding fight has emerged.
Next week and the week after will be intense. The two sides are pretty far apart, as you know.
The Department of Homeland Security, which operates TSA at airports, FEMA, as well as immigration operations, is set to run out of funding in less than 2 weeks. Democrats funded that department for a limited time because of a demand for reform following multiple fatal shootings in Minnesota by immigration officers.
Taxpayer dollars should not be spent to brutalize and kill American citizens.
But there are serious questions about whether a deal can be struck before then, with members of Congress telling the Scripps News Group that any deal in such a short time frame will be difficult.
I'm not optimistic.
Many Democrats are demanding new policies like body camera use, a commitment to follow standard warrant procedures, and limits on mask wearing by immigration agents. Body cameras may be one area of agreement. In recent days, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has sent body cameras to field officers in Minneapolis, while President Trump has praised their usefulness.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening.
But other demands, like changes to warrant procedures and limits on mask wearing, may be more challenging. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has indicated that restrictions on masks may put officers in danger. If by February 13th no deal occurs, TSA agents at airports could once again be forced to work without pay, and FEMA's disaster relief fund could be strained should national emergencies occur. Immigration enforcement operations would likely continue, though, in a funding lapse. During the government shutdown last fall, ICE agents were paid using funds from President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Still to come on 7 News Detroit at 4, more changes ahead for I-696. We are breaking down the next phase of closures that drivers need to get ready for.
You're watching 7 News Detroit, part of the Scripps News Group.
Tensions are rising in Haiti, where the country's presidential council has until Saturday to step down. Now, this comes as the status of Haitians living in the U.S. remains in limbo. Scripps News Group's Jamie Ostroff met with a Haitian who called the U.S. home for 2 decades about navigating the uncertainty.
A rebuke calling out Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Secretary Noem, the record to date shows, does not have the facts on her side, or at least has ignored them, does not have the law on her side, or at least has ignored it. That's the conclusion of a U.S. District Court judge, in her opinion, blocking the Trump administration's attempt to end temporary protected status for people from Haiti.
My dream is to become the most successful Haitian woman entrepreneur of the world.
People, including Farah Leroux.
I am here now taking the time to fight for my right to exist.
Over the past 20 years in South Florida, she built a marketing company geared toward minority communities, primarily Haitians.
For Americans to see Haitian as valued, not only economic contribution, but also a cultural, political a contribution.
Farah was granted temporary protected status in 2010.
Yes, we understand.
Following an earthquake that devastated Haiti. She'd already been in the U.S. for 5 years, and getting TPS halted her pending case for permanent residency.
And because of American people, I feel like make me a better person, make me understand how democracy works. It made me understand what it means when fighting for your freedom.
According to DHS, TPS is a designation for foreign countries whose conditions prevent its nationals from returning safely. Those granted TPS can get work authorization and are not removable from the U.S. If a person has been convicted of a felony or at least 2 misdemeanors, they're not eligible for TPS.
Now, that was actually one of the primary reasons behind the judge's decision. She even put this tweet from Secretary Kristi Noem in the document itself. It says, quote, "I am recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that has been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies." Noem posted this tweet shortly before announcing she'd be revoking TPS for Haitians. So when the administration says we're rounding up dangerous people,
they're lying. They're just lying. This is not about immigration issue. This is about racial issue.
In response to the ruling, Assistant DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin tweeted, "Supreme Court, here we come," writing TPS, quote, "was never intended to be a de facto amnesty program, and that the final word will not be from an activist judge legislating from the bench." Jamie Ostroff, Scripps News Group.
Get ready for more orange barrels on I-696. The next phase of the Restore the Ruther project will get underway next month. The I-696, I-75 interchange ramps will be closing for improvements, which include rebuilding the ramp base. So what do drivers really need to know? Well, detour routes will be Van Dyke Avenue, 8 Mile Road, M59, and M10 The Lodge. Ramp work is expected to be done by early summer.
Not only construction, but also some snow in the forecast could make the commutes over the next few days a little bit tricky. We're tracking potentially 1 to 3 inches by Friday evening. We do see temperatures also rising on Friday, which could be above freezing for the first time in a while, which is about normal this time of year. We're also tracking the return of the Arctic air that could hit over this weekend. We are expecting temperatures to plunge yet again. Temperatures, wind chills right now, 22 in Detroit with a 13 wind chill. 12 is the wind chill in Pontiac, 13 the wind chill in Ann Arbor, while 8 is the wind chill out in Howell. Over the rest of the afternoon, we're seeing temperatures again falling off to the overnight hours to the low double digits, but the wind chills again will be lower than that in the overnight, going to the overnight hours, but then warming up as we go into the early part of the morning. Now, we mentioned also tomorrow, we can see the clouds up here, but we do have a chance of a little bit of snow that could mix in there. We see temperatures reaching into the 20s as we go through the day, but again, with that snow potentially arriving, it would come Thursday in the afternoon hours. When I say snow, though, we're talking about a dusting to about an inch. So not enough to really accumulate on the grounds, but enough to make your commute home from work or from school a little bit trickier than normal. As we move into Friday, this is when we start to see a chance of the bulk of the snow moving in. You see Friday into the morning, this is 4 a.m. into the early parts of the day, 8 a.m. here. So right about that time you're getting to school, getting to work, that's when we're expecting the bulk of this snow to fall, and we're expecting an additional 1 to 2 inches to fall on Friday. So overall, in the next couple days, what we're looking at is about 1 to 3 inches of snow throughout the area. However, with those temperatures also climbing on Friday, there's a chance, especially in the southern part of our viewing area, that some mixing will be possible rather than just entirely snow. So maybe a thicker, wetter snow than you would otherwise expect. As we go into the overnight hours tonight, we are seeing temperatures in Detroit dropping down to 10, 11 in Mount Clemens, 9 in Pontiac, mostly cloudy throughout the night. And then we go into tomorrow. Again, we do have that chance of snow in the afternoon, but again, it's dusting to about an inch, so not too much. We're seeing temperatures in Detroit 24, Mount Clemens 24, Pontiac 22. Now, as we look at the rest of the next 7 days, we kind of go up and down a little bit throughout there. So we warm up into Friday. That's when we see that snow coming. That's when we could surpass freezing, which hasn't happened in at least the past week or so. So we could be above freezing, which is about more normal this time of year. But then that Arctic air returns. We could have some gustier winds, wind chills overnight here between Saturday and Sunday. Could be very, very frigid as we see temperatures drop on Saturday to 15. Then we warm up again, a little bit warm up, I should say, and get back towards normal temperatures by Tuesday and Wednesday.
It's expected to be a record year for Super Bowl betting, and the wagers have already kicked off. What first-time bettors should know before placing their bets. That's coming up.
I'm John Matteries. Thinking of upgrading your TV for the Super Bowl or Winter Olympics? Well, I'll show you why you don't need a Super Bowl-sized budget this year to move up to a much larger TV.
Super Bowl Sunday is just around the corner, and people are expected to bet a record amount on the big game. The American Gaming Association expects $1.76 billion to be bet on that big game, which it says is a 27% increase over last year. And get this, their estimate only counts legal wagers, which operate in 39 states plus D.C. So it's safe to assume the actual number will be even higher. Sportsbooks say this is a busy time of year for first-timers who just want to be part of what has become part of the Super Bowl experience.
It's your first time betting. Just make sure you're betting responsibly. You're not betting on something that you're not sure what it is. You know, be confident you know what you're betting.
First-timers are encouraged to check the odds for the game before placing bets. Some casinos even have staff to help people place those bets.
The Super Bowl, the Winter Olympics, award shows. There are a lot of reasons right now why you might want to upgrade your TV. And the good news is that moving up to a bigger TV this year does not require a Super Bowl-sized budget. Shopper Tomas Vargas is thinking big for the big game.
Next time, honestly, I'm going over 85 inches.
You're going to get that big, huh?
Yeah, the prices are not that bad now compared to many years ago.
Retailers like Best Buy are advertising steep markdowns, like 85-inch TCLs as low as $679, and up to $2,100 in savings on select LG OLED TVs. At Walmart, game day deals include a Philips 75-inch TV for $378 and a 65-inch TCL for less than $300. CNET's Daisha Milden says you'll find the biggest savings on 2025 models.
I would check multiple retailers. It's a really good time to comparison shop.
CNET found the top reason people upgrade is screen size. Most people now opt for 65 inches or bigger, so measure first.
And then see, when you sit about 9 feet back, does that feel comfortable for you? Are you squinching your eyes? Does it feel too close?
TVs are getting massive.
116 inches this one is.
And more vivid, as seen at the CES Tech event earlier this year.
These TVs will be able to help you see their legs in motion with the sharpness and clarity as though you were sitting on the side of the field.
The newest TVs won't be on sale until the fall. Meantime, save with solid budget options like a 50-inch Hisense for about $300. But if you have the room and the budget, oh my goodness, this is a 100-inch TV. Best Buy has some 100-inch deals down near $1,000, so you don't waste your money. John Mattery, Scripps News Group.
A significant drawdown of immigration officers in Minnesota. I'm Scripps News reporter Patrick Terpstra. Ahead, we'll tell you what Tom Homan says is the reason for scaling back efforts in the Twin Cities.
Also ahead on 7 News Detroit at 4, ditching the school calendar when it comes to vacation. More families are picking up and heading out of town during the school year. Why some travel experts say it could be a big money saver.
I'm Del Walters in Washington, D.C. Let's get you caught up on some of today's top stories. It's now a race against time to try and find the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for more than 72 hours. She needs her medication to survive. Sheriff's Office in Pima County, Arizona is now reviewing possible ransom notes sent to TV stations, including the Scripps station in Arizona. They're trying to determine if those notes are legitimate. They believe Nancy was abducted from her home in the middle of the night. There are security cameras, but police haven't been able to access them. The sheriff saying so far DNA has not identified a suspect. Former First Lady Dr. Joe Biden's ex-husband has been charged with murder. Police say 77-year-old William Stevenson killed his wife during a domestic dispute at their home. Officers found her unresponsive in the living room. Stevenson is being held on $500,000 bail. He was married to Dr. Joe Biden from 1970 to 1975. She then went on to marry future President Joe Biden in 1977. Officials say a man is lucky to be alive. Seems he was trying to take a selfie but wound up being trapped in an icy pond. The Indianapolis Fire Department saying the 35-year-old ventured across the ice to get near a fountain with colorful lights. Well, that's what he fell through. Had to grab onto that ice to stay afloat. Department saying the man's cell phone was critical in the end, but not because of that selfie photo. They said he used it to call 911.
Trump border czar Tom Homan says effective immediately, he's withdrawing 700 immigration officers from Minnesota, a mix of both Customs and Border Patrol and members of ICE. Homan saying that is because they have significantly reduced the number of undocumented immigrants in Minneapolis. And they've seen increased cooperation with state and local leaders, particularly sheriff's offices that run the jails. Homan says he has new commitments from the jails to turn over undocumented immigrants who have been arrested for crimes rather than release them back into the streets. But that does not include the main jail in Minneapolis. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office telling Scripps News there has been no change in a policy prohibiting cooperation with ICE. They do not assist or comply with any civil immigration requests from ICE, only complying with the judicially signed warrant. There will still be 2,000 immigration officers on the ground in Minnesota. That is a lot more than the 150 who typically be there.
This is smarter enforcement, not less enforcement. For those who are not a national security threat or public safety risk, you are not exempt from immigration enforcement actions. If you're in the country illegally, you are not off the table.
Minnesota's Attorney General, as well as the mayor of Minneapolis, both called this a step in the right direction, but they say it doesn't go far enough. They are demanding an end to the surge of enforcement officers in Minneapolis. Patrick Terpstra, Scripps News Group, Washington.
There is a bipartisan desire on Capitol Hill to write new federal laws regulating self-driving cars, and safety is a top priority. Officials from Tesla and Waymo testified before the Senate Commerce Committee Wednesday, and there was agreement that the state-by-state patchwork laws we have right now just aren't cutting it. Lawmakers want the U.S. to be a global leader on self-driving cars. They want U.S. standards to serve as the baseline for the world, not standards from another country, say China, our top competitor. So there is true excitement about the benefit of autonomous vehicles. Lawmakers highlighted improved accessibility for the disabled or the elderly. And AVs could be a game changer in the fight against drunk driving and distracted driving.
I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the next big jump we have in reducing that number from 40,000 to hopefully a day where it's zero is autonomous driving. Simply put, an autonomous driver, the system and the computer that operates it doesn't sleep, doesn't blink, and doesn't get tired.
But with the increase in self-driving cars on the road also comes a number of concerns that the senators dug into, like who has liability after a crash involving a self-driving car, who can be sued after that crash, what happens to the massive amount of data that these cars compile. Privacy data concerns go well beyond the driver. Think about the car's exterior cameras that capture the outside world as it's driving down the street. So regulation could go well beyond just rules of the road. We could see manufacturing standards, maybe requiring redundancies so that cars have to use different types of technology, like using radar and cameras while the cars are operating. We could see standards set on software updates or the creation of a central depository to share safety data. But an industry expert testifying Wednesday noted that self-driving cars that are already on the road now, well, they were built following regulations that were written decades ago, long before a self-driving car was anything close to a reality. So he said lawmakers really need to look at regulations for all cars on the road.
We need to evolve some of the standards that apply to human-driven vehicles. A lot of the accessibility challenges that Senator Duckworth was talking about, these are ones because we are trying to adapt to rules and regulations that were written when it was only contemplated that a human would be the one driving the vehicle. That's no longer the case. Now an autonomous vehicle can do the driving. We need to evolve a lot of those standards.
Congress is due to address the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill in the coming months. The current version expires at the end of September, so we could see lawmakers include new federal regulations on self-driving cars in the next few months. Stephanie Liebergan, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Midwinter break is only a couple of weeks away for many students, but it's common to see families getting away right now, even if it means skipping a few days of school, and we wanted to hear from you. We posted on our WXYZ Facebook page, do you ever pull your kids out of school for family vacations? We have more than 1,400 comments so far from parents sharing their experiences. We thank you for weighing in on this. Meantime, 7 News Detroit reporter Jolie Sherman also listening to families about why they break from the school calendar to travel.
Midwinter break is right around the corner, but like these families, they're not waiting for the break. They're traveling now.
We're going to Orlando, Florida.
We're headed to Sydney, Australia.
Pulling their kids out of class for a couple days.
It's fun, yeah.
I've really been looking forward to this for a while.
Others will be gone a couple weeks.
I'm taking it's a sabbatical, so I'm taking a semester off from teaching. And so we're taking the kids along with us. And yeah, we're taking a month-long trip, family trip.
We looked closer, asking families on social media whether they usually go on trips during the school year or wait for the breaks. The response was huge. Our post got over 1,000 comments, with some saying they keep their kids in school, but most say they take the trip. That's how we met the Stratton family.
I have a 3rd, a 5th, and a 7th grader, so taking them out of school was not a decision we came to lightly. It took us forever to decide if we were going to do it.
Melissa Stratton and her family just came back from a 10-day trip in Hawaii.
When you take them during an off-peak time, you get to sort of vacation and experience the culture and the vibes way more authentically, I think.
For many families, the key factor is costs. Traveling outside of school breaks tends to be much more affordable. In fact, a travel pro we spoke to says off-peak travel can save you thousands.
Price and lower crowds are huge reasons why people book during off-season.
Rachel Butcher is both a travel agent and preschool teacher, and because she can't travel outside her school's scheduled breaks, she says she's paying nearly 3 times more for her trip.
We had to modify our cruise to go on spring break. We're paying $6,800 for a cruise for 3, opposed to going in February where we did want to go for a little under $3,000.
But is going away during school days disruptive for students? Educators we spoke to say no.
There's no real disruption. They want them to go spend this time with their families and to have these experiences.
We're completely on board. Yeah, they were fine with not giving them any work. We're just going to take a little break and just see the world.
Jolie Sherman, 7 News, Detroit.
And for those families who don't like cold, it's very understandable why they'd want to book a trip away down to Florida, because we've been stuck in this cold spell for quite a while, have not reached above freezing in quite some time, but that could change come Friday. Right now, temperatures in Detroit, 22 degrees. It is 19 in Lapeer, 19 in Howell, 21 in Ann Arbor. And we're going to kind of see temperatures going a little bit up and down over the next couple days. Over the rest of the next evening here, the rest of the evening into tomorrow morning, we're seeing temperatures drop into the low double digits before tomorrow we see temperatures rise yet again. again into the 20s. We do see clouds up here, but we could have a chance of some snow showers that will develop in the parts of the afternoon going into Thursday. But wind chills over the next 36 hours or so, we see still wind chills in the single digits, so it will feel very cold in the overnight and early morning hours yet again. We do see a warm up come though on Friday where we could again reach those above freezing temperatures. We are expecting with that some snow, about 1 to 3 inches in total accumulation possible by Friday. Then that Arctic air returns yet again for the weekend. We'll have more on all of that coming up in your full forecast.
Enjoying Super Bowl weekend doesn't mean you have to step out of your budget. You can simply stay at home and create your own spread. Or you can find a place that's hosting a watch party and look for the best deals.
While hundreds of millions of people will be glued to TVs watching the Seattle Seahawks take on the New England Patriots in this year's Super Bowl, data shows people are planning to spend less when it comes to their food and drinks. According to the National Retail Federation, people are expected to spend a little more than $94 on average on Super Bowl Sunday. But there are ways to cut your costs. If you decide to host your own party at home, mapping out your spending before you head to the grocery store can keep your expenses down.
Our ads change every single week.
Jackie Jackson is a district manager for Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilions. She says after you make your list, check your store's weekly ads and your store's app for discounts, and look for savings if you buy in bulk, such as their You Pick 4 deals.
So if you pick 4 that shows this tag, it doesn't matter what the item is. It might be a cookie, a cracker, it might be a chip, or it might be a can of beans down the aisle. You can pick any item, bundle in your cart, pick 4, and you're going to get this great low price.
The next suggestion, consider using a different brand to save on costs. Many stores have their own signature brands on Super Bowl essentials like pizza, burgers, and wings that are often cheaper than national brands. And if you don't want to make your dishes from scratch and buy all of the ingredients, many grocery stores are offering ready-made meals, like a tray of sandwiches that can feed up to 24 people, which starts at just under $50, to a 50-piece bucket of fried chicken that will cost just under $60. But if you're looking to go out, there are things you can do to keep your costs to a minimum. Johnny Leal is the general manager of Pacific Beach Ale House. He says look for places like theirs that don't charge for cover. Once you're there, look at the menu and ask about portion size, because you can enjoy a meal without burning a hole in your wallet by sharing appetizers and entrees. Their appetizers start at just under $15, with their main dishes under $24.
Some of our more popular items, fried pickles and the pretzels and our flatbreads, and those are all at a discounted rate, and they're the full portion. Our burgers are 8-ounce patties. Some people will we get a lot of requests for cutting them in half because people are going to share the burger, and then they're going to get some wings on the side, and they're going to share that as well.
And Johnny says always make sure to ask your server about drinks and food specials that aren't on the menu.
Marie Cornell, Scripps News Group.
While homebuyers seem to have an advantage in the housing market these days, renting may be the smarter move. Homebuyers are paying nearly 37% more than renters each month. That's according to a new study from LendingTree. The biggest gaps are in expensive cities like San Francisco and New York, where mortgages can cost more than $3,200 more than rent. But in cities like Phoenix and Orlando, the difference between buying and renting is much smaller. If you care more about the Puppy Bowl than the Super Bowl, Budweiser has an ad for you. A sneak peek at their Super Bowl ad features a horse helping raise a newly hatched bird that grows into an eagle. The spot, called American Icons, celebrates the beer company's 150th anniversary. Budweiser says the ad shows the brand's connection to American history. And the U.S. cattle supply has hit a 75-year low, forcing meat processors to take major financial losses. Beef prices rose more than 16% last year. Tyson Foods lost $319 million in the final quarter and could lose up to $500 million more by September. The cattle herd shrunk by 300,000 animals last year.
Taking a look outside at current temperatures in Detroit, we're looking at 22 degrees with a 13-degree wind chill. It is 21 in Ann Arbor, 13-degree wind chill, 12-degree wind chill in Pontiac. So it is still cold out there. However, we are going to see a little bit of a warm up going into Friday. Temperatures over the next 12 to 24 hours, we see temperatures dip into the overnight about low double digits. Then the wind chills just below that throughout the rest of the evening here, peaking down or dipping down to about 5 degrees around 10 p.m. That is, again, the wind chill here as moving to the overnight hours. We are tracking a chance for some snow on Thursday evening, afternoon, going into Friday. So we take a look. You can see Thursday about 1 p.m. we start to see that snow start to move into our area a bit. And when we talk about snow on Thursday, we're talking about a dusting to about an inch. So not too much snow will accumulate onto Thursday, but then Friday is when we see the bigger bulk of that snow moving in. This look at 4 a.m. and then was moving to 7, 8 a.m. Right around the time you're heading out to work, kids are heading to school. That's when we start to see more of that snow moving through, and about an additional 1 to 2 inches of accumulation throughout Friday until it dissipates into the early parts of the afternoon. So in total, over Thursday and Friday, we're looking at about 1 inch to 3 inches area-wide of accumulation. However, with the temperatures climbing on Friday, for the southern part of our viewing area, we could see some mixing in there, some very wet, heavy snow instead of that fluffier snow we've been seeing in the recent snowfalls with the temperatures so cold as we see temperatures dip onto Friday. So again, over the next few days, tonight we're looking at 10 degrees. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 24 degrees. Then over the next 7 days, we will see temperatures kind of go up and down, climbing to near freezing, if not above freezing on Friday. Then we go up the Arctic air back over the weekend with temperatures climbing back on Tuesday and Wednesday.
As part of News Literacy Week, the Scripps News Group is digging into the effects of artificial intelligence, including where it's being used and how. Reporter Justin Hinton visited a school in Las Vegas to see how the technology is helping improve state test scores.
I'm Justin Hinton in Henderson, where standardized test prep comes with an AI boost for some Valley students. Inside Excel Academy, a tutoring center, you'll still find physical test prep books, but owner Brandon Kim explains the help is moving from the page to the digital stage.
Green Valley High School, that's the first school we use AI tool, SAT prep for mandatory during class time.
That's 640 students working with tutors and artificial intelligence to help improve their ACT scores. Irene Kang, the project manager at Excel Academy, walked us through one of the AI components.
So if we just click through these. Yeah, so then it'll give you the explanation, exactly how the student performed, and then using this data, it'll also contribute to the future questions that would pop up in this feature.
Somewhat of a question bank, catered to each individual student, focused on the areas in which they didn't perform well. A bonus for Green Valley's principal, Kent Roberts. Why is something like that so beneficial?
That would be the Mount Everest of asks to impose that on a teacher to come up with individualized question banks.
He's hoping to fine-tune the process even more for his students. But with the boot camps led by live instructors, he's already seen a change.
Those students who may not typically perform well on this type of assessment really seem to show significant improvement.
For everyone else, he says they increased their score by an average of 2 points. On a 36-point scale, that is a pretty significant improvement. Then add in the AI question bank.
We'll see if that translates into improved performance. You never know until the moment of truth. I won't say they're looking forward to it because they're high school kids.
And it's a test, right? Who wants to take a test?
I think they feel much more comfortable going into the test, quite honestly, now, because I think they feel like they have a few more tools in their toolbox.
What Kim says is the point of it all.
Solution is not more study times, but a smarter use of time.
The big test comes at the end of February when students will take the ACT. Now, once they have the results, Excel Academy will meet back with the principal and kind of have a debrief, see what worked, what could have been better, all to improve the AI landscape when it comes to education. In Henderson, I'm Justin Hinton.
The scam is old, but the technology is new. Police are warning about callers claiming to be a loved one in jail, demanding thousands of dollars for bail. Artificial intelligence has given scammers the ability to alter their voices and sound more convincing.
Is someone there?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? It can be believable. It can sound like it's someone in your family or a close friend.
Computer science experts say real-time voice and face alteration technology is something that did not exist a few years ago. Police say if you get a call claiming to be law enforcement, keep this information in mind.
We never accept money for warrants or any of that type of stuff, period. Doesn't happen.
Police urge anyone who receives a scam call to report it to their non-emergency line.
Coming up next on 7 News Detroit at 4, remembering seniors in the season of love. The Handmade Valentines, giving some homebound seniors in Michigan a reason to smile.
violets are blue, and Age Well Services loves their seniors through and through. Homemade Valentine's Day cards for homebound seniors is how Age Well is saying be mine this Valentine.
Today and every day, you deserve to feel loved.
That's just one note from a neighbor to a senior.
Especially on the day of love, so many of them are alone. And a little card, even a silly little card, will brighten their day, brighten their entire life.
Kim Lang has been a Meals on Wheels driver for 10 years, and for the last 5, she's been a part of this special delivery service.
I have seen couples lose a spouse, and that empty space that it creates, especially on a day of love, makes it very hard.
That's why seniors 60 and older signed up for Meals on Wheels or Age Well's medical transportation program are guaranteed a gift this Valentine's Day.
Giving this little spark of joy spreads more than just a moment.
This spark of joy spans from Muskegon to Oceana and Ottawa counties, and all the cars delivering the cards will have these.
We will be putting in our windows little signs that say, we are delivering love, or we are the Valentine Express.
Last year, Age Well volunteer coordinator Jessica Squires says they collected about 3,500 cards. The leftovers are all dropped off at living care facilities across Muskegon County.
It's just that simple note that can change their outlook for that day.
And these notes last longer than just a day. Kim says she sees them hanging in their homes all year.
They need as much as they can get. They deserve as much as they can get.
How about a night at the show? St. Dunstan's Theater Guild of Cranbrook is kicking off the 2026 season with a rockin' good time for you, presenting a jukebox for the Algonquin. It follows a group of spirited residents at a senior care center who want a jukebox for dancing in the rec room. Laughs galore as the residents come up with a fundraising scheme. A jukebox for the Algonquin continues at St. Dunstan's Indoor Playhouse in Bloomfield Hills this Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. As always, we thank you so much for joining us today at 4. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay with us. 7 News Detroit at 5 is just 60 seconds away.
First at 5, Unified Fight.
We are all created in the image of God and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
Christian, Jewish, and Muslim faith leaders calling for cuts to immigration enforcement as family members open up to us about loved ones detained.
Why those faith leaders tell me there's no room for compromise.
Plus, a potentially pricey punch. The Lions fan at the center of an altercation with a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, now filing a $100 million lawsuit.
I filed this lawsuit not out of anger, but out of a need to restore the truth and accountability.
Why the lawsuit is also naming 2 former players as defendants.
And another blast of winter hours away. We're tracking 2 more rounds of snow before temperatures tumble.
And when the snow arrives and how it could impact your drive.
7 News Detroit starts with breaking news.
And we begin with that breaking news out of Fraser. Chopper 7 flying over a business with a giant hole in the wall after a crash involving a box truck and several other vehicles.
This is playing out at Groesbeck and 14 Mile Road at an auto repair shop.
Let's get right to 7 News Detroit reporter Tiara Braddock live on the scene. And Tiara, what can you tell us?
Well, Glenda, as you can see right now, there are some people working on getting that hole patched up here at Clem's Transmission. Now, someone on the scene did tell me that there was about 4 or 5 other vehicles that were damaged in that crash. As we said before, it was a box truck that appeared to veer off of the road and then slam into that business. Now, we are hearing that someone was injured during the crash, but we're still working to learn who that was and how that person is doing. Now, we had Chopper 7 getting some video of the scene earlier. I want you to take a look at that. And a driver gave us some video of the crash that he caught on his dash cam as he was driving down Groesbeck. Now, I spoke to that driver, and I want you to hear what he had to say earlier today about what he saw.
I was driving northbound on Groesbeck, had actually just passed a van that was on fire, and just moments later, I happened to be following this box truck and thought he was getting over from the left lane over to the right lane to turn right on 14 Mile. And next thing you know, he was almost hit a utility pole, hit a snowbank, and plowed right into the front of a building where a flatbed tow truck was delivering a vehicle, it looked like.
And we know so many people have questions. What caused this crash? How was that person doing? Was there anyone else injured? No, we are working to get that information, and as soon as I know something, you will too. But for now, I'm live here in Fraser. Tiara Braddock, 7 News Detroit.
Thanks so much, Tiara. We'll check back with you soon.
Yes, and now to more breaking news. This happening as we speak in Brighton. There, a barricaded situation unfolding in the Brighton Village neighborhood off Grand River Avenue. This is right next to 242 Church. We can see multiple departments lining the streets and officers surrounding one of those homes there. Stay with 7 News Detroit. Just as soon as we learn more tonight, we will update you.
Well, now to rising tension amid a crackdown on illegal immigration. This is video from Chopper 7 this afternoon as hundreds of students from Plymouth Canton Community Schools made their voices heard, staging a walkout in protest of ICE.
This is the latest in a string of demonstrations we have seen against ICE agents, and it comes as the White House announces it's pulling back 700 of the 3,000 immigration enforcement officers in Minnesota.
And back here at home, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim faith leaders coming together, calling for funding cuts to ICE.
7 News Detroit reporter Randy Wimbley listening to them and sharing their message to the administration.
Tearing families apart shall not be done in our name.
No! Divided in faith but united in opposition to ICE. Roughly 60 Episcopalian priests, Jewish rabbis, and Muslim imams gathered at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, condemning immigration enforcement tactics they say are immoral.
While this may be beginning with immigrants, if the administration has its way, it surely won't stop there.
They're calling on lawmakers to cut funding to ICE, an agency under fire over questionable tactics and the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
To spend our public dollars on the systematic abuse of our communities is morally repugnant.
They say there's no room for compromise.
Any deal for reform is delusional. ICE agents have violated nearly 100 court orders from just one single Minneapolis judge in the past few months.
The immigration crackdown is also being felt across southeast Michigan, including businesses that serve immigrants like Mahdi's African Cuisine.
They don't come here buy food no more. Everybody's scared, they stay home. Like this past 3 weeks, they're taking over 20 people, 20 African people.
Owner Amity Goy says his nephew and brother were detained last week. Goy says he could support funding for ICE if agents were just going after criminals. But he says that's not what he's seeing happening.
ICE, in the beginning, they said they're looking for criminals, but now they're catching good people.
Sonny Reddy is the co-chair of the Michigan GOP.
I strongly support ICE. What they're doing is they're not targeting an individual, they're targeting the people who violated the law.
The Oakland County Republican Party released a statement saying, in part, the increasingly extreme rhetoric coming out of today's so-called ICE Out Interfaith press conference marks another troubling escalation in the radical left's campaign to delegitimize lawful federal immigration enforcement and undermine respect for the rule of law. Meanwhile, these faith leaders say people in their spiritual care are the ones at risk.
We are not calling for open borders. We are not calling for the end of law. We are calling for an end to mass militarize immigration enforcement inside our communities.
Yes.
Randy Wembley, 7 News Detroit.
All right, Randy, thank you. We're going to turn now to the forecast. We're tracking more snow heading our way in the next 24 hours. That could have a big impact on the roads once again. So let's get right to Brett Cass. You're looking at it now, huh?
Yeah, it feels like it's been never ending. You know, I mean, the snow, this cold, and we're going to see temperatures actually get a little bit warmer. But again, that snow is coming starting Thursday into the afternoon hours into Friday in the morning hours. It's not going to be an incredible amount of snow, but we're seeing 1 to 3 inches when all is said and done. Right now, you're looking at the sunshine out in Detroit. We're going to see the clouds moving in overnight. Detroit, we're seeing 22 degrees as a temperature. Lapeer is 19 in Howell, 21 in Mount Clemens. Again, we're going to see cloudier skies building in over the night. You can see where the temperatures drop into the overnight hours here, going into the low double digits, and then wind chills over the next 24 to 36 hours, also going back into the single digits. So again, it's going to be very cold in the overnight hours into the morning hours. So make sure the kids are bundled up again, heading out to the bus stop. So we are tracking again 1 to 3 inches by Friday evening of snow. We are seeing temperatures that could climb above freezing. We'll keep an eye on that for Friday, but then the Arctic air returns yet again over the weekend. Glenda, Simon.
All right, Brett, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Now to what could end up being one very pricey punch as a Lions fan files a lawsuit against Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf.
Yeah, it was all the talk around Metro Detroit with the altercation playing out this past December right there inside Ford Field.
Now 7 News Detroit has obtained a copy of the $100 million lawsuit that fan has now filed against Metcalf and 2 other former players.
7 News Detroit reporter Whitney Burney was at the press conference today, hearing from the fan and his lawyers about why he's now taking legal action.
Ryan Kennedy and the attorneys in this case say that this incident has had a profound impact on the victim and his business. They say that this lawsuit is about holding those with power accountable.
Lions games have always been about community and having fun for me.
Sitting beside his attorneys, Lions fan Ryan Kennedy says he's setting the record straight.
What's been said about me on national and international media is false and deeply hurtful. Being publicly labeled a racist based on something I did not say has caused serious damage to my family, business, reputation, and has put my personal safety at risk.
The season ticket holder announcing a $100 million plus lawsuit Wednesday after he says he was assaulted by Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf. The December incident captured on camera. Kennedy is also suing former NFL stars Chad Ochocinco Johnson and Shannon Sharpe for libel and defamation after the two made statements on their podcast alleging Kennedy hurled racial slurs at the player, causing the outburst.
What kind of reasonable person, let alone a white man in 2025 here in downtown Detroit, would go out and shout out the N-word across the field? That doesn't make much sense now, does it? But DK Metcalf exploding, that definitely makes sense.
While Kennedy maintains racial slurs were not used, nor insults to DK's mother, which was also alleged, it's unclear exactly what was said. But attorneys say Kennedy is still in good standing at Ford Field.
Mr. Kennedy didn't do anything that anybody else wasn't doing. He was cheering for his team. He was rooting for the Lions. And he was booing some of the calls and the plays by the Steelers. This case is not about the Lions. It's not about the Ford family or the allegations that they did anything wrong. It's about protecting the fans, protecting the brand. We should all be able to go to these games as fans and not be subjected to leaving that stadium and having our lives ruined and our reputations ruined based on any type of false allegations.
I reached out to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the NFL, and Shannon Sharpe's media company, Shay Shay Media, for a statement, but didn't hear back in time for this report. From Ford Field, Whitney Burney, 7 News Detroit.
All right, Whitney, thank you. We're going to go now to the abduction that's caught the attention of the nation. The troubling disappearance of the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie.
And it gets even more troubling tonight because authorities say they have 0 suspects and no clue where the 84-year-old is.
They believe Nancy Guthrie was taken in the middle of the night Sunday. There are some reports tonight of ransom notes, and officials say they're investigating if those notes are legitimate.
They are also trying to review surveillance video, but they say the camera at the front of the home is missing.
Some sad news to pass along tonight for Tigers fans.
Yes, Detroit Tigers legend Mickey Lolich has passed away at the age of 85.
The left-handed pitcher was the MVP of the 1968 World Series, throwing 3 complete games to help the Tigers win the championship. The 3-time All-Star spent 13 of his 16 Major League seasons in Detroit and still holds the team record for career strikeouts.
Within minutes of announcing his passing, our Facebook post got flooded with hundreds of comments about what Mickey Lolich meant to them. If you want to share a memory, we invite you to do so right now on our Facebook page.
Incredible there.
Yes,
Yeah.
What a legacy.
Yeah. All right, still ahead, separating fact from fiction.
Next, how one local librarian is making news literacy her mission for students and parents.
Preventing another vehicle from crashing into this terminal. How DTW is taking steps to ensure that never happens again, and how some travelers are feeling about it.
Tonight on 7 News Detroit at 6, a terrifying bus ride home from Chicago.
How would you describe your last journey?
I don't want to remember it.
Passenger telling us the bus driver was not paying attention to the road the whole 8-hour-long trip.
He was eating, driving, talking on the phone, and texting.
Tonight, the video she's sharing with us of the trip and how the owner of the company is responding. It's all new tonight on 7 News Detroit at 6. Simon, Glenda.
All right, Mike, thank you. We'll see you soon. As we continue News Literacy Week, tonight we want to lift up the voice of one Birmingham librarian.
A special lady, she is making it her mission to make sure students learn how to separate fact from fiction early on.
She hosts a hands-on literacy night for kids and their families. 7 News Detroit reporter Carly Petrus was there and takes us inside the event.
I'm here at Birmingham Covington School, where the library is turning into a full-on news literacy adventure. Behind me are different stations, and students are taking their parents through each one, learning how to critically think about news they see every day.
I'll stop and think before I believe and share. I'll check where information comes from.
I will ask questions and look for facts. I will be smart, kind, and responsible.
Students at Birmingham Covington School are signing the News Literacy Pledge, promising to pause, question, and verify before believing or sharing information.
It's never too young to start these skills.
The after-school literacy night, led by librarian Laura Amatuli, is designed for 3rd and 4th graders and their families.
If you get 5 stamps, you can come back and get a superhero mask.
Awesome! Different stations set up around the library, all geared towards news literacy. And the goal is simple.
To learn how to slow down, think critically, and ask smart questions before trusting and sharing information.
Amatuli says this is especially important as artificial intelligence, or AI, becomes more prevalent in our lives.
And I heard you ask when the 3rd graders, how do you know if something's AI? Why did you ask him that?
I asked it because we're building habits of asking good questions. We want students to think, who created this? Why was this picture made? Or why is this article made? What evidence supports this article? And these critical thinking skills give them a lifelong piece of their toolbox.
And it seems like those lessons are already sticking for 4th grader Malia Farr. I sat down with her and asked her about AI and news literacy.
How do you make sure what you're looking at is truthful?
Well, it's hard to make sure, but you have to think about it and make sure it is, because it's important.
Malia attended the event with her mom, Jasmine Farr, who says growing up, news looked very different.
I remember getting the newspaper twice a day, and it came on your porch, and that was kind of it. You just took that for what it was. But now we have it on internet, we have it on social media. You're getting it from left and right and all these different forums.
Farr says she wants her daughter to stay on the offense as AI technology continues to advance. And she believes events like this one give kids the tools they need to do just that.
It takes a village. So schools can't do it alone, parents can't do it alone, and children definitely can't do it on their own. So we all have to come together collectively and make sure that they're protected, that they're safe, they're learning, and we can all do it together as a community.
In Birmingham, Carly Petrus, 7 News Detroit.
Well, thank you, Carly. If you take a look outside right now, you'll see some sunny skies. We get this nice look over downtown Detroit. Looks pretty beautiful out there. But however, over the next 48 hours or so, we will not see too much sun as we got some clouds and even some snow moving in. Current conditions in downtown Detroit, 24 degrees. Wind chill also 24. Dew point is about 8 degrees. So it is getting a little bit less dry out there, but it is still pretty dry as we move through here in February. Right now, temperatures in the area, 22 in the other parts of Detroit with 13 as the wind chill, 19 down in Monroe, 20 in Ann Arbor, 19 in Pontiac, but the wind chills again below that, 9 in Monroe, 10 out in Ann Arbor. As we move through the rest of the night, we see temperatures do dip into the overnight hours around 10-ish degrees, so we dip down into low double digits. And then as we move into tomorrow, we see temperatures getting out of the teens and into the 20s. However, there is a few chances of some snow that could pop up here on Thursday afternoon. We're not looking at too much, but a light accumulation on Thursday. We also have those temperatures with the wind chills dipping down into the single digits again into the overnight hours, into the early morning hours. So peak bus time temperature is about 7-degree wind chill. So make sure those kids are all bundled up if they're going to be outside yet again on Thursday. As we mentioned on the drive home Thursday, we could see a little bit of snow moving into the area. This will look at about 1 p.m. on Thursday, moving through into the about 5-6 afternoon hours. We start to see that snow dissipate. But then as we move into Friday morning, we see a better chance of snow. So on Thursday, we're looking at about a dusting to an inch. But then as we move into Friday, we see another inch to 2 inches of accumulation. Here's a look at about 6 a.m. actually. So this is about the time kids are going to school, you're heading out to work. So be prepared to see some snow falling and some snow on the roads as you get about your morning commute there. And we see another inch to 2 inches of snow on Friday. So in total, for the 2 days, we're looking at about 1 to 3 inches throughout the area. However, with those temperatures climbing on Friday to near or above freezing, we could have some mixing possible, especially for the southern part of our viewing area. So there could be a wet, heavier snow that we really haven't seen over the last few snowfalls because we've had such that dry, airier snow with the cold temperatures. Tonight's forecast, 10 degrees is the overnight low in Detroit. Tomorrow we're looking at temperatures in the 20s throughout the area. And we're going to kind of stay a little bit up and down in the 20s, 30s again, but Friday could be the first time we see temperatures above freezing in quite some time. Then we got the Arctic air returning over the weekend before we warm up to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Linda, Simon?
All right, Brett, thank you.
Well, still ahead, learning his fate, the sentence handed down today for the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump at a Florida golf course.
But first, Metro Detroit raised actor and comedian Dave Coulier's major announcement regarding his cancer treatment. Well, the man who tried to assassinate President Trump at a Florida golf course in 2024 will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Ryan Routh was accused of aiming a rifle at Trump through shrubbery at his West Palm Beach Country Club, but never fired a shot. A Secret Service agent spotting Routh first and opening fire, causing him to drop his weapon and run off.
The judge called his plot deliberate and evil before handing down the life sentence without parole.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein case, putting Bill Gates and Prince Andrew back in the spotlight. Melinda French Gates speaking out after her ex-husband appeared in newly released Epstein files, saying he needs to answer for the alleged behavior in those documents. Gates has called his meetings with Epstein a huge mistake, but his spokesperson says These latest allegations are completely false. In the meantime, Prince Andrew has moved out of his royal residence earlier than expected amid growing outrage in the UK.
Metro Detroit-raised actor and comedian Dave Coulier has announced he's now in remission from tongue cancer.
Terrific news. The 66-year-old Full House star revealing the good news on Good Morning America today, which coincides with World Cancer Day. Coulier diagnosed with tongue cancer last year, just 1 year after finishing treatment for lymphoma.
He says early detection saved his life and is encouraging others to get regular checkups.
Still ahead, safety changes at Detroit Metro Airport.
The big change you may notice your next trip to the airport after a man drove his car into the McNamara terminal.
Plus, parking problems in Royal Oak. It's been a month since the city made big changes. Tonight, we're following up with drivers to see if they felt a difference.
But first, let's take a look at what happened on Wall Street. The Dow gained 260 points, the Nasdaq fell 350 points, and the S&P 500 dropped 35.
Your voices, your stories, in your community. You're watching 7 News Detroit.
We begin this half hour with Detroit Metro Airport making changes after a man crashed his car straight into the ticket counter at the McNamara terminal. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Simon Shaquette.
And I'm Glenda Lewis. This is the video of the chaotic scene last month. Well, just today, we confirmed the driver still has not been charged in this crash.
However, the airport is now taking steps to make sure this never happens again. They've installed new concrete barriers outside those doors.
7 News Detroit reporter Evan Siri saw the new additions at the airport, asked passengers if they feel safer, and got some insight from a retired FBI agent to see if it's enough.
Well, it's been 2 weeks now since a car crashed into McNamara Terminal behind me here in Romulus. Now the airport is taking steps to ensure it never happens again. When a car smashed into DTW's McNamara Terminal less than 2 weeks ago,
Actually, I was out of the country when it happened, but it did make the news feed where we were traveling.
it made world headlines. Now, Kim Beauchamp, who was flying out of DTW Wednesday, is seeing the aftermath in person.
It's kind of a shock. You can't imagine that that would happen at an airport.
But like many, Beauchamp is also getting a first look at new security upgrades intended to prevent a repeat incident.
I don't know if that's the long-term solution, but I think it's wonderful they did something that quickly.
In a statement to Channel 7, Wayne County Airport Authority CEO Chad Newton writing, "I've been with the airport for 27 years, and what occurred on January 23rd at the McNamara Terminal is unprecedented. It has definitely changed our security posture. As a result of what happened, you will see 9,000-pound cement barriers are in place. These barriers are staggered at every DTW terminal, but not everyone thinks it's a necessary move."
It's an overkill.
Jack Akey uses the airport often and says the barriers are a waste of money.
How many airports are there in this country, and how many times does something like that happen?
One too many.
You know, we had a car go through there once.
If you ask former FBI agent Andy Bartnuak,
Whether or not it was because of a medical emergency or it was intentional, the thing they're going to be concerned about is, can somebody else do this again?
the head of the airport says the driver of that car is undergoing a medical evaluation, and police will present their findings to the prosecutor's office. In the meantime, he adds the airport is more secure now than it was last week.
And you hear about it, people crashing into homes, into stores, into all different kinds of places. Things like that can happen anywhere.
In Romulus,
You just always hope and pray that, no one's injured.
Evan Siri, 7 News, Detroit.
Serious steps being taken.
Yeah, good to see. Evan, thank you.
Now to something many Metro Detroiters have complained about for years, parking problems in Royal Oak.
Yeah, we've been covering complaints about back-in spaces for a long time. And then in October, 7 News Detroit reporter Jolie Sherman reported on the solution when the city returned to traditional pull-in parking.
And last month, the city added traditional pay stations and Park Mobile. So Jolie went back out to Royal Oak today to see if drivers have noticed a difference and if businesses have seen more foot traffic. Tonight, she's hearing from all perspectives on this.
Better, simpler, user-friendly. That's how people are describing Royal Oak's new parking system, Park Mobile.
They have similar machines in Ann Arbor, which I go to a lot, so it was not that hard to figure it out.
And I thought it was really easy. I mean, everything was spelled out for how to do it.
However, some say there's a bit of a learning curve.
I'm pretty tech savvy. I could do that. But there's people in the place right here that couldn't.
The new parking system got rid of the city's back-in parking spaces, a relief for many business owners on South Washington Avenue, as they felt it drove customers away.
It used to be daily we would get complaints about not being able to back in, not understanding the system, the app not working, and now it's the exact opposite. Everyone is quite happy.
Julia has been working at Rail and Anchor for 6 years, and she's noticed more foot traffic since the switch.
So the anxiety is gone about parking here now. It's way more welcoming to come back to the city.
And the city says that's the goal.
I mean, the hardest thing about coming to Royal Oak is should be deciding where you want to go out to dinner, where you want to shop, not how to park.
City Commissioners Brandon Colo and Rebecca Cheesem says they wanted a parking system that was used in other communities.
So it's really familiar to people, and I think folks are really enjoying the ease with which they can use our on-street parking now.
The new system is fairly simple. This is my car here on South Washington Avenue. I pulled in. Remember, no back-in spaces. What you might find, though, are bagged meters. That doesn't mean parking is free. What you'll want to do is find one of these orange pay signs and kiosks. Follow the steps listed, including entering in your zone number, which you can find on the side, and your license plate number. Once that information is in and you've paid, you're good to go. But there are also other ways to pay as well. That includes downloading the Park mobile app, paying online, or texting PARK to 77223.
Well, our downtown is really important to us, and we want people to come downtown. We want visitors to our community. That's really important to us, to our business owners, and so it was really essential that we get it right.
The city says they've already started removing the old meters, and that process is expected to be completed by April. In Royal Oak, Jolie Sherman, 7 News, Detroit.
Great to know. Jolie Sherman is your Royal Oak reporter. If you have a story idea, send an email to jolie.sherman@wxyz.com, or you can scan the QR code on your screen.
Metro Detroit drivers will need to prepare for a new round of traffic headaches starting next month. Today, MDOT announced the I-696 and I-75 interchange ramps will close in early March as part of the Restore the Ruther project. 4 ramps will be shut down with lengthy detours through April and into early summer. The closures are needed to rebuild ramp bases, drainage, and pavement. The eastbound I-696 closure from M10 to I-75 remains in effect throughout 2026.
Saga continues. How would you like to get paid to have fun? Right now, Cedar Point is hiring 7,000 seasonal workers. The Sandusky Ohio Park is offering $15 an hour, plus free admission to all Six Flags parks, including Michigan's Adventure. Cedar Point is holding hiring open houses from February 14th through the 22nd. You can also apply online at Cedar Point's website.
Talk about an awesome summer. Still ahead, U.S. jobs in a slump. The new non-government report showing fewer than expected jobs were created last month.
But first, U.S. cattle stock hitting a 75-year low, how it's hitting meat processors hard and driving up prices. Carolyn?
All right, thank you so much, Simon and Glenda. Coming up all new tonight on 7 News Detroit at 6. Pothole problems all across Metro Detroit.
Bob and weave, just dodge them. Try to go slow if you can.
Dodge away. The worst areas drivers are seeing right now and why more and more potholes are popping up during the deep freeze. Plus, a Metro Detroit team making a difference right in her own community.
It meant a lot to me because it was something that I had on my own and I could do honestly anything with it.
Why she decided to create her own nonprofit and why an Ann Arbor organization says her work is so very crucial. We'll have these stories and so much more coming up all new tonight on 7 News Detroit at 6. Sure hope you join us at the top of the hour.
U.S. hiring slumped last month, according to a new non-government report.
The update from payroll company ADP saying the economy added 22,000 private sector jobs. That's about half of what was expected. ADP's chief economist saying job creation has been slowing for 3 years, but wage growth has remained stable.
The official government jobs data is delayed due to the recent government shutdown.
In the meantime, some meat processors taking a financial hit as the supply of cattle in the U.S. reaches a 75-year low. That is affecting cost of beef. Data from the Department of Agriculture showing the price of beef rose by more than 16% in 2025. That's according to the Agriculture Department. The U.S. cattle herd shrunk by 300,000 last year.
Pizza giant Pizza Hut announced it's closing 250 underperforming locations across the U.S. The closures represent about 3% of the chain's U.S. footprint. Parent company Yum Brands announced the move during today's earnings call. The company is also conducting a strategic review of Pizza Hut that could include a possible sale. A specific list of locations they plan on closing not released.
Well, turning back now to the forecast, Metro Detroit bracing for some more snow and falling temperatures.
Yeah, that is right, Simon. We are tracking a little bit of snow on Thursday, but then more snow coming on Friday. We'll have more on what to expect and when to expect it coming up in your full forecast.
All right, Brett, see you soon. But first, in tonight's Health Alert, the biggest killer of women may not be what you think. Coming up next, our chief health editor, Dr. Partha Nandi, breaks down what we're learning about heart disease and what women need to know to stay healthy.
Now to our forecast and a live look over downtown Detroit. We saw just one guy skating just earlier.
Still frozen over the city there, Brett.
It is still frozen, and we do have a chance of actually getting above freezing on Friday, which would be the first time in quite a while, but many people enjoying the sunshine out there today. Maybe about 48 hours till we see, or at least over the next 48 hours, we will not see much sunshine in the forecast. Right now, temperatures across the area, 22 in Detroit, 13 degrees is the wind chill, 10 degrees the wind chill in Ann Arbor, 9 degrees is the wind chill in Pontiac. So again, still pretty cold out there, but a little bit warmer than we had seen not too long ago in the last week or so. Temperatures and wind chill over the next 24 hours or so, dipping down into the low double digits, and the wind chill, of course, staying even lower than that, still in the single digits in the overnight and early morning hours. So definitely something to be wary of if you have kids waiting out at the bus stop, heading out to school, and also planning for school tomorrow. We have temperatures climbing into the 20s, but we do have a chance of some snowfall later in the afternoon on Thursday. That should be in the later parts of the afternoon. We're not expecting much snow here. We're talking about a dusting to about an inch of snow. You can see on the Futurecast, let's look at 1 p.m. The snow is starting to move in, and as we move into the afternoon and evening, the snow begins to clear out. But then on Friday, we have even more snow coming in. Friday morning is that time frame, so we're looking at about 6 a.m. 4 a.m. here. But then as 6 a.m. moves in, we see more snow moving in on Friday morning. We're talking about another inch to 2 inches of snow that can be moving through on Friday. So when all is said and done, we're looking at accumulation of about 1 inch to 3 inches throughout much of the area here, pretty much all of Metro Detroit. However, for the southern part of our viewing area, the southern half of it really, with those temperatures warming up, we could see more of a mix here as we see the snow falling. That could be, again, a mix and more of a heavier snow rather than that light, fluffier snow. So as we look at the next 7 days, the art scare moves back in over the weekend before we warm back up on Tuesday and Wednesday. Simon, Glenda?
All right. Thanks a lot, Brett.
Well, in today's health alert, heart disease remains the #1 killer of women in the United States, yet many women still don't know that this is their biggest health threat.
And the warning signs can look different than men's and can be easy to miss. So joining us is our chief health editor, Dr. Partha Nandi. And Doc, why does it hit women so hard?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Right? Heart disease is often thought of as a man's disease, but the reality is this, that heart disease causes, guess what, about 1 in 5 deaths amongst women in the U.S., and it affects women of all ages. And now one big reason it's so dangerous is awareness, right? The CDC found that only about 56% of women realize heart disease is their top health risk. Many women worry about cancer, especially breast cancer, when statistically heart disease is really far more likely to be deadly. Another issue is how symptoms show up, and this is important. For years, women's symptoms were called atypical, quote unquote, but that's misleading. Women are more than half the population, and their symptoms can look different. While men often describe this crushing chest pain, women are 30% less likely to report it. Instead, it may feel like chest discomfort or pain in the neck, jaw, upper back, or arms. They may also have nausea, shortness of breath, dizziness, or fatigue that won't go away. And because that, women often wait longer to seek help. And even then, unfortunately, it's not uncommon to be told that their symptoms have nothing to do with their heart, which is quite unfortunate.
So Life's Essential 8 sounds like a guideline from the American Heart Association. Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely, I like it a lot because what I like about it is that they're great for both women and men. First is eating better, right? So that means focusing on whole foods like fruits, veggies, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, and healthy oils. Second is physical activities. Adults should aim for about 2.5 hours of moderate exercise every week, or 75 minutes or more of intense activity. Third is quitting smoking, super important. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable death and greatly increases the risk of heart disease. And next is sleep. Really important. Adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That's right, Simon, 7 to 9. Poor sleep affects blood pressure, blood sugar, and inflammation, all major risks. And then it's about managing weight, controlling cholesterol, and keeping your blood sugar and blood pressure in check. High blood pressure is especially dangerous for women's heart because it's often underdiagnosed. And so here's my advice, right? Women need to be strong advocates for their health. Bring your questions to your doctor and discuss symptoms, even if you feel like they're vague. If heart disease is a concern, ask about testing and follow-up. I can't tell you how many times my patients have had heart attacks and they thought it was something different. Really? So it's really important. If you suspect it, talk to your doctor because it could save your life. Because it's not only just the #1 disease, it can kill you even while you're getting the heart attack.
Yeah, it's tough. You got to check yourself out.
100%.
All right, thanks a lot, Doc. Good
My
to see
pleasure,
you.
of course.
If you have a health question for the good doctor, you can email him, Dr. Nandi, at askdrnandi.com, or send it to us on Facebook or X. We'll be right back. It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights.
Tonight, the Muppets are back on television for a one-off special you can watch right here on 7 and on Disney+.
Seth Rogen is executive producing this project, and Grammy-winning pop star Sabrina Carpenter is the guest host.
You're my idol. Yeah, I basically modeled my whole look and style after you.
Oh, trust me, my attorneys and I have taken notice and we will be in touch.
Maya Rudolph also appears in the special alongside classic characters like Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and the Electric Mayhem Band. All the fun begins at 8 p.m. tonight. Good times.
Oh, the nostalgia. All right, that does it for us.
7 News Detroit at 6 is next. Mike, Carolyn?
All right, thank you so much, Simon and Glenda. All new tonight at 6, distracted driving drama, all caught on camera. A Detroit woman recounting her terrifying trip on a bus ride home from Chicago. The video she is now sharing and how the owner of the company is responding.
And an update on that skull found in a donation box in Chelsea. It had the whole town talking. Why it could be quite some time before we get real answers. Plus,
a Metro Detroit teen is making a big impact through clothing. I'll share how her nonprofit is giving people comfort in their outfits and why an Ann Arbor organization says her work is so crucial.
All right, thank you, Demetrius. We'll have these stories and a whole lot more all coming your way next, right here on 7 News Detroit at 6.
Distracted driving drama caught on camera.
How would you describe your last journey?
I don't want to remember it.
A Detroit woman recounting her terrifying trip on a bus ride home from Chicago.
A passenger shared with me that video so I could get answers. She's describing the terrifying moments of her nearly 8-hour-long trip and what the owner of the company is telling me.
Plus, more potholes popping up across Metro Detroit. Drivers sharing with 7 where they are dodging the biggest craters so far.
We fix the car every few months because of that potholes.
Just dodge them. Try to go slow if you can.
What we came across and the strategy local road departments are using this winter to lessen the impact.
And another round of snow taking aim at Metro Detroit. When the flakes start flying, how much sticks to the ground, and the bitter cold temperatures on the way.
7 News Detroit starts with breaking news.
And that breaking news happening as we speak in Brighton. A barricaded situation unfolding in the Brighton Village neighborhood right off Grand River Avenue. This is also happening right next to a church.
Now, we've seen multiple departments lining the street and officers surrounding one of the homes there. This has been ongoing for at least the last 2 hours.
We'll certainly keep an eye on it for you. Also breaking right now, a giant hole in the side of a business in Fraser caused by a crash involving a box truck and several other vehicles. Chopper 7 flew over the scene at an auto repair shop at Groesbeck and 14 Mile Road.
And a witness shared this video with us. He says that he caught the crash on his dash cam. You can see the box truck swerve through lanes before jumping a snowbank and hitting other vehicles. No word yet on injuries. Stay with 7 News Detroit as we follow both of these breaking stories tonight.
All right, now we're going to turn to this bus driver drama caught on camera. Dozens of passengers enduring a nerve-wracking ride from Chicago that may cost the driver his job. Good evening to you. I'm Carolyn Clifford. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6.
And I'm Mike Duffy. Now, a Detroit woman says the snowy bus ride home turned terrifying after she noticed the driver of the charter bus texting, eating, even doing math behind the wheel.
Now, that passenger reached out to 7 News Detroit reporter Faraz Javed to sound the alarm on that risky ride. Tonight, he is taking that video to the bus company to get a response.
How would you describe your last journey?
I don't want to remember it.
That's Detroit resident Martha Carvajal, still shaken from her recent bus ride from Chicago to Dearborn. And you might be too if you realized your driver is on the freeway on a snowy day and glued to, in this case, his phone.
He was eating, driving, talking on the phone, and texting.
This is one of the videos Marta shot showing the bus driver on his phone. She says at 70 miles an hour with on and off snow showers and on slippery roads.
Not only texting, he also wanted to do some math.
Right here you can see the driver actually using the calculator on his phone. And at times, she claims, both hands were off the wheel.
Probably he was bored, driving, and I understand, but we were 31 person in the bus.
This past Sunday, Marta's Amtrak train from Chicago was replaced the following day with bus transportation provided by Quintessence Travels.
Did you want to go on a bus?
Oh, no, absolutely no. Actually, I've been suffering all my life from car sickness.
So why did you take the bus then?
I didn't have other option.
I connected with the owner of the Chicago-based bus charter company, Stephen Holmes, and showed him the pictures.
What do you think is going on?
I don't know, but that right there is unacceptable with the law. Totally unacceptable.
Holmes says Quintessence Travels has partnered with Amtrak for nearly 4 years and calls this the first complaint of its kind.
I have not, called him into a meeting or whatever, but he will be terminated.
Marta has filed a complaint with Amtrak and is still waiting to hear back. She says this isn't the service she expected after paying $150 for a round-trip train ticket.
When you finally arrived in Dearborn, what did you say to yourself?
I just got on my knees and I kissed the ground and I say, thanks God.
What would you like to see happen?
An awareness for the safety.
What's your message for Marta and anyone else who's got concerns with your company?
For me to apologize for everybody to have to deal with that with a driver.
While Amtrak has yet to respond to my questions about how it vets charter bus partners, Holmes says his company is reviewing its own process.
We're actually in the process now. I'm actually putting cameras on the buses.
Now, Michigan State Police say this behavior violates the state's hands-free law and violators face a civil infraction. In Dearborn, I'm Faraz Javed, 7 News Detroit.
Wow, kudos to that woman for capturing that video of that driver.
And kudos to Faraz for getting action on it.
Absolutely, quick action too.
All right, now to pothole problems plaguing Metro Detroit as concrete graders pop up all over the area.
Last week, hundreds of you sounded off on our Facebook page when we asked where you are seeing the worst issues out there on area roads. Our viewers alerting us to several hot spots in Macomb County that have recently become a real pain for local drivers.
7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham checked out some of the worst roads so far and how road crews are working to lessen impact.
You told us where to look for potholes, and we found some of them. We're on DeQuinder, seeing firsthand the nuisance this deep freeze is causing during your commute.
Up down here, it's real terrible.
DeQuinder Road between 13 and 14 Mile is struggling and could use some TLC. Until then, drivers are doing what they can to safely navigate.
Bob and weave, just dodge them. Just try to go slow if you can.
It's one of the locations viewers called out on our Channel 7 Facebook page. We wanted to know where the worst spots are. One viewer jokingly posted a map and circled the entire state.
We fix the car every few months because of that potholes. We pay way too much in taxes for these potholes. Thought money was going towards the potholes, but here we are. Every snowstorm, there's a different pothole popping up.
Of course, it all depends on your route. Many roads we encountered are still in relatively good shape.
I don't think I come across them too frequently, but when I do, it's like, you know, you're trying to swerve, it's dangerous.
Eric Dimoff with the Macomb County Department of Roads says they are working to get ahead of the damage.
We have a handful of crews out on the roadways. They've been out essentially since that big storm we got about a week and a half ago. Once we got the roads clear of snow, we started hitting the potholes, some of the high hotspot areas and the heavily traveled areas.
We caught up with those crews filling holes with cold patch. Dimoff says the current freeze-thaw cycle, combined with heavy precipitation, causes the pavement to expand and crack.
Right now, we're kind of just addressing things temporarily until the weather allows us to get in there and do more long-term solution fixes on the roadways.
If you spot a pothole that you think needs patching, report it to your local road department. We've got a list compiled at WXYZ.com. Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
We've all seen them. Thank you so much, Darren. Now, this extended deep freeze is setting the stage for a rough pothole season ahead.
You got that right. Here is 7 First Alert meteorologist Mike Taylor with a look at why so many potholes are popping up already and why it's only expected to get worse in the weeks ahead.
Metro Detroit has been stuck in the deep freeze for quite a while, nearly 2 weeks here, and we're going to add more days. 14 days and counting so far. That's below 32. 9 of these days have been below 20. That is the definition of Arctic air that's been here for an extended period of time, and it's doing a number on the roads. In fact, when you're dealing with asphalt, it gets brittle. When those road crews are patching those holes, that is soft and pliable, but once it starts to freeze and harden, it becomes brittle. When cars go over that, it breaks loose, and that causes those voids, those potholes that we're seeing right now. And the story only gets worse from here. We're talking about next week, we're going to have a freeze-thaw cycle. Now, that's a traditional setup where we'll thaw things out and then we'll refreeze repeatedly. That, too, can mess up the roads, so it looks like the potholes are only going to get worse before they get better.
Thank you so much, Mike, for that explanation. We are on pothole patrol for you, and we want your help. Many of you have already let us know about the problem potholes in your neighborhoods, and we've used your information to put together an interactive map on our WXYZ.com Facebook page to help other drivers steer clear. But we know there are more out there. If you have a crater you want us to check out, email us a photo and the location to tips@WXYZ.com.
Okay, meantime, more frigid temperatures are in the forecast as this extended cold snap continues.
This is now our 14th straight day below the freezing mark, and temps are set to take another tumble as a round of widespread snow takes aim on us.
7 News Detroit's Brett Cast tracking when our next blast of winter weather arrives and the bitter cold temperatures on the way. Hey, Brett.
Hey there, Mike. Now, the good news is actually Friday, we may actually get above freezing. So that could be the first time in, at that point, 15, 16 days since we've been above freezing. But until then, we do have some snow possibly moving in the forecast. So dodging potholes, now dealing with snow on the roads as well. 19 degrees is the current temperature in Detroit, 19 in Howell, 19 in Ann Arbor as the sun is beginning to set. Maybe about 48 hours or so until we see sunshine again, as we see cloudy skies moving in throughout the evening here with temperatures dipping into the low double digits. And then as we move into tomorrow, you can see temperatures climbing into the 20s, but if you see there those couple spots of snow, we do have some snow possibly moving in Thursday afternoon. That combined with snow on Friday, we're expecting 1 to 3 inches in total by Friday evening. We do have a chance to get above freezing, but that Arctic air does return over the weekend. More on all of that coming up in your full forecast.
All right. Thank you so much, Brett. Talk to you in just a bit. All right. New developments in the deadly mass shooting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grambling Township. The 2 officers who fatally shot the man who carried out the attack will not face charges. The Genesee County prosecutor releasing a letter today clearing both officers, saying their actions were justified. The Grambling police officer and a Michigan DNR officer shot and killed 40-year-old Thomas Sanford during the September 28th attack. The prosecutor says they knew he was armed with an AK-47 assault rifle and refused to put it down despite their commands. I spoke to Prosecutor David Layton today, who told me they have reviewed body cam video, police reports, and went to the horrible scene of the mass shooting and arson. And after a complete investigation, he says there was only one conclusion.
Well, what I would say after my review of all this is that these 2 men are heroes. These are 2 men who came upon a horrific scene, a church having been bombed, a church congregants being shot, and, you know, like police officers do, and this is why I hold them in such high regard, they're running towards the problem when everybody else is running away. And this is Exhibit A of them doing that. These men are heroes.
The prosecutor says had these officers not arrived on the scene within just minutes as they did, the outcome could have been much more horrific. Mike?
All right, it could be months before we learn more about the origins of an apparent human skull that turned up at a Goodwill donation center in Washtenaw County. Investigators say the disturbing discovery was made last week. Employees found it wrapped in donated clothing at the location on South Main Street in Chelsea. According to Chelsea police, the county medical examiner believes this is a human skull. It's now headed to the University of Michigan's anthropology department for further analysis to determine where it may have come from. We're told that could take up to 90 days. Meantime, police are still working to identify the woman on your screen who they say dropped off the skull. Anyone with information is asked to contact Chelsea police right away.
All right, still ahead on 7 News Detroit at 6, a Metro Detroit teenager making a major impact by giving back to her community.
Just seeing their faces like happy when they receive the clothes, like it means a lot to me that I'm like doing something for the community.
How the donation closet she started in her basement is boosting the confidence of her neighbors in need.
It's reporter Rudolph Olsenida, and I am back in Hazel Park looking for your story ideas. I had the opportunity to speak to the school superintendent. She told me about a new cell phone policy where they will all have to be in pouches come March. I also heard from city leaders about the incident at the city's Amazon facility involving an ICE arrest. But I want to hear from you, the residents. Do you have a story idea for us? We just might feature it if you email your tips to ruta.olsenida@wxyz.com.
You're watching 7 News Detroit, part of the Scripps News Group.
A senior at Seaholm High School is giving back by helping boost the confidence of others.
At just 17 years old, Tessa Shane of Birmingham created her own nonprofit called the Donation Closet. The organization, run out of her family's home, has collected thousands of new and gently worn clothes for men, women, and children in need.
7 News Detroit reporter Demetrius Sanders spoke to Tessa, her mother, and leaders with Michigan Foster Care Closet in Ann Arbor about how this teen is already making a big difference in the community.
After stepping away from high school sports, Seaholm student Tessa Shane found herself with extra free time on her hands, ultimately deciding to use her time to give back to others with each of these bags that she delivers. As Tessa Shane unloads her vehicle, she's ready to make an impact.
It fills me up with happiness that I get to help other people.
In 2024, with sports in the rearview mirror, Tessa, a senior at Seaholm High School, got involved with the New Jersey-based organization Hoodies for the Homeless.
Started a Michigan chapter for that, and then I was getting a lot of donations coming to my house, so I decided I needed a place to put everything.
The place she ended up choosing was the basement of her family's home.
Figured nobody was really using it. And why not take the couch out and all the furniture and buy some racks, and let's make use of this.
In the summer of last year, the growth Tessa saw with Hoodies for the Homeless inspired her to create her own nonprofit, the Donation Closet, where she coordinates clothing donation drives.
People can drop off donations at my house, or people will drop it off at my high school. I'll go to my basement and I'll sort everything, and then I have different racks from like kids, women's, and men's, and then like the different sizes.
Since starting, Tessa has collected around 10,000 garments, which she delivers to Metro Detroit organizations who distribute them. Wednesday, she gave to the Michigan Foster Care Closet in Ann Arbor, where kids in foster care can shop for free.
This is a place that they belong, and they come in our doors and they know that, and they get to choose anything they want.
The organization services between 120 and 150 youth each month, highlighting why donations are so critical.
When people like Tessa come in and drop off large donations, it allows us to do what we do.
So far, the Donation Closet has helped around 18 other nonprofits and even families impacted by the LA wildfires. Tessa hopes her work encourages others to give back.
I just think that everyone should do something and help the community.
Now, she also says when she goes off to college, she plans to create another chapter of the Donation Closet in that area. In Ann Arbor, Demetrius Sanders, 7 News Detroit.
Isn't that awesome?
She's definitely making a difference. Thank you so much, Demetrius. Now back outside for a live look over the Detroit River. We've got more cold and snow coming to Metro Detroit this week.
7's Brett Cass is tracking our next blast of winter weather in the Arctic air on the way. Hey there, Brett.
Yeah, hey there, Carolyn. We are still below average right now as far as the temperature. It seems like we've been in this for a while. It's been about 2 weeks since we've been above freezing. So today's high temp was 23 degrees. Average right now this time of year is 33 degrees. Our low this morning also slightly below average. So it is a little bit colder, and it's staying cold outside right now. 19 degrees in Detroit, 10 degrees on the wind chill, 5-degree wind chill in Pontiac with a 10-degree, now 9 to 10 degree wind chill out in Howell, and 11-degree wind chill in Ann Arbor. So it is pretty cold out here, and it is going to stay cold for quite some time. We're taking a look at the wind chills now over 36 hours. You can see into the overnight hours again. This is prime time when kids are going to start going to school in the morning, right about here. 5-6 degrees is going to be the wind chill, so it will be a very cold morning tomorrow morning into tonight into tomorrow morning. And if you take a look at your Thursday, we see temperatures building up into the 20s, but if you take a look, we do have a shot of some snow here in the early parts of the afternoon. We're not talking about a lot of snow, about a dusting to an inch, but it'll come about the time you're heading home from work, heading home from school, so it could be a little tricky on the road. So we take a look at our future cast. This is looking about 1 o'clock as we move into the afternoon. So again, just a dusting to about an inch. It starts to dissipate into the nightfall on Thursday, but then when Friday morning comes around, we see a bit more snow, and this is the chance for some more accumulation to come through. Moving it across to 6 a.m. now. This is about when you're heading out to school, heading to work. We start to see more of that snowfall. About an additional 1 to 2 inches could fall throughout the morning hours on Friday into Friday afternoon. So in total, between the 2 days, we're talking 1 inch to 3 inches of snow throughout the area, and especially for those in the southern part of our viewing area, the southern half of our viewing area, really, we're talking about a mixing of snow and some sleet, rain that could mix in there. Again, we're seeing temperatures that are right about freezing, so kind of depends where that falls, but we're seeing maybe more of a wet, heavier snow rather than that light, fluffy snow we've been seeing with some of the colder temperatures that we've had over the past couple of weeks. So as we move into the overnight hours, here we got 10 degrees as the overnight low in Detroit, 7 in Ann Arbor, 9 in Pontiac. And moving into tomorrow, again, highs in the 20s throughout the area, 24 in Detroit, 24 pretty much mostly across the board, 22 in Pontiac, 22 in Ann Arbor. So we're staying in the 20s as we move into tomorrow. But again, that snow could start to build up into the early parts of the afternoon. So Thursday, Friday is that chance we can see maybe hitting above freezing, but we do have that snowfall moving in. The Arctic air comes back in over the weekend. That's why you see a high of 15 degrees on Saturday. Overnight wind chills could again be in the negatives, but then we kind of warm back up, I would say, back to near freezing, closer to normal on Tuesday and Wednesday. Brad Galley is here in the studio. Look at sports. Brad.
Brett, thanks, man. Remembering a legend, one of the greatest Tigers of all time, Mickey Lolich, passing away. Remembering what he did in the 1968 World Series and all the history he made in the Old English D. We've got that and more coming up next in sports.
Look at that shot.
One of the most legendary Detroit Tigers has died. Mickey Lolich, the left-handed pitcher who threw 3 complete game victories in the 1968 World Series, passed on Wednesday. Lolich's role in that World Series championship team was pivotal. He earned the series MVP for his key role in the championship. His name is all over the Tigers record books and atop them in some of the biggest pitching categories. Lolich is first all-time in Detroit Tigers history in strikeouts with 2,679, first all-time in starts with 459, and shutouts with 39. The Tigers said Lolich's wife told the team that he died Wednesday after a short stay in hospice care. Mickey Lolich was 85. The Tigers have shared their spring training roster for their upcoming camp, which begins next week. Their 40-man roster and 23 non-roster invitees are there. I know the font is small, so I'm going to point out 6 prospects that are included in that group of 23. Headlining the group, outfielder Max Clark, shortstop Kevin McGonigal, catcher/first baseman Jose Briseño, and infielder Max Anderson. David Montgomery's future with the Lions is a topic of discussion this offseason. The running back himself weighed in when he joined NFL Network at the Super Bowl. If you're in the camp that would like to see him stay in Detroit, you may like what he had to say.
I think teams in the NFL are starting to realize how important it is to have 2 guys and 2 really great guys. And the really good teams have the rarity of having 2 really good guys. And, you know, Jameer is one of, if not the best running backs in the league. And I believe, you know, I'm a damn good back myself. And every chance I get to try to showcase myself, I will. And I just think having us both together and us both being as selfless as we are, I think is really important. But, you know, it's something special to be a part of.
One more game until the Olympic break. The Red Wings are in Utah tonight to face the Mammoth. It's been a spectacular first 3 quarters of the season, and the Wings aim to keep that going after the break. Todd McClellan has a strong message for his group.
Focus on the task at hand. These games are always unpredictable. Make it as predictable as you possibly can. Stay focused, finish the job, finish the task at hand, empty the tank, and then you can go relax.
It's a lot sweeter of a taste if you can go into that break with a win than having to sit on a loss for a few weeks.
Ooh, absolutely, right?
And I like that you're already mentioning spring training.
It's next week.
That's pretty awesome.
It's next week. It's crazy.
Feel like it.
The end is nigh.
That's all right. I like going towards spring instead of the opposite, right?
Sign of optimism, always.
Yes.
Thanks for watching 7 News Detroit at 6.
World News Tonight with David Muir is coming your way next.
Followed by 7 News Detroit at 7.
Have a great night. Try to stay warm.